What is happening, Buffalo Bills Mafia? The Saberhood. I'm still not quite used to the Saberhood just yet, but really enjoying the run, obviously, that they've gone on as they broke the playoff drought. Finally, at last, we can look at the NHL playoff picture and see the Buffalo Sabres in that playoff picture. So, first and foremost, I had to mention that. Had to mention that the fact the Buffalo Sabres are in the playoffs, made the playoffs, and we're waiting as to whether or not they'll take the Atlantic, take the Eastern Conference as a whole. And we're also in waiting for the 2026 NFL draft, which I'm really looking forward to this draft for a wide variety of reasons. Not only looking at this draft as a Buffalo Bills fan, but just looking at this draft as a football fan, as a dynasty football player. You always have to know who are the studs in every draft class that could really help you and your dynasty team get that much better for the future. So it's good to get better in the present. It's even better to get better in the future as well. Taking, a leap on some of these guys. So I'm going to run a full-on NFL mock draft today. I'm also going to run a full-on Buffalo Bills mock draft today for all of the Buffalo Bills fans out there that tune into this show, that have been with me here for 10 years. I go back and look at some of the old episodes of the Thomas Take Sports podcast. Do I look a little older? Maybe a little older. Do I feel a lot wiser? Yeah, I guess as much as I could, as much as I should, with some of the takes that I've had on this show. And not to rub it in, but some of these takes that I've had over the years have come to fruition, have come to fruition. Josh Allen being one of them, James Cook being another, Ray Davis being another, mocked a lot of great players over the years to Buffalo. Ed Oliver being another one back in 2018. I can't remember what year that was off the top of my head, but Ed Oliver being another. And, I kind of know by now, we should know by now, right, for the most part, how Buffalo Bills general manager Brandon Beane works and what types of players does he want to bring in? What does he value as a general manager for the Buffalo Bills? And if I said Sabres there, I apologize. I talked about the Sabres in the beginning of the show, so if I said Sabres instead of Bills, I apologize. But this is an episode that is pre-recorded. It's pre-recorded as of Wednesday, April 8th at around 3:30. So this is not a live episode. So what I always tell the folks at home, if you're tuning in to this show tonight at 8 p.m., usually I go live at 8 p.m. Not going live tonight because the Sabres are playing the New York Rangers, and I want to watch that. So, I'm not going live right now. This is pre-recorded. But for all the people that tune into this show and really enjoy the live stream aspect that this show provides, really appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that you guys comment. I still want you guys to comment because when I see those comments, I get notified that you guys commented on this show and I can respond to the comments in this show. So still do that. Still react to what I have to say. And whether you agree, whether you disagree, it's really the beauty of podcasting and sports takes and debate, right? So I want you guys to continue to fire away your comments as well. I got this thing here that's called a YouTube channel, and I want to plug it here for the folks at home. I want to do something with this YouTube channel that I have not really had much success in doing, and I really haven't tried at the level that I should. I want to share my YouTube channel. So this right here is the Thomas Take Sports Podcast YouTube channel. It has 333 subscribers. That's what you're looking at here right now. Right here, right now. That's what you're looking at. The fact of the matter is I want that number to be a lot higher than it is, right? I've put a lot of time in this show over the years. I feel like it should be a lot higher from an engagement standpoint. You guys are staying engaged with me throughout this entire, 10-year journey. Views wise, my show does very, very well. But from a, perspective of subscribers, I think there could be a lot left, on the bone here. So as this says, Thomas Takes Sports Podcast, 333 subscribers. I've had friends on, I've had journalists on the podcast, I've had audio clips, I've got YouTube shorts, I've got all sorts of stuff, right? Over the years, all me, right? All me right there. Tune in, right? Tune in, stay dialed in. A lot of hot takes throughout the journey. Okay, so Thomas Takes Sports Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. Now, as I cut back to myself on the screen, I want to talk about some of the best players in this draft class, and I'm going to do that by talking about the mock draft aspect of things. So, getting right to it, let's share the screen again here, and let's do this. Let's go to the mock draft simulator for the Buffalo Bills. We're going to start off with a Buffalo Bills mock draft. Now, there'll be ads that'll pop up on this site because they need to pay their bills. We understand that, right? So Buffalo Bills, they hold the 26th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Their team needs are edge rusher, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, and offensive guard. A big gap in between picks here, 26-91, because we traded that second-round draft choice to the Chicago Bears. And that second-round draft choice, maybe we'll play around with that. Maybe we'll play around with a unique idea that might not be as sexy to the fans as it is to me. But let's hit play. Let's resume this draft, and let's just skip to the 26th pick and see who's out there and see the trade offers that come in. We've got pick 26 and pick 220. We'd have a second in 2027 and an additional third in 2027. We'd have to move down quite a bit in order to do that. 24 spots with Detroit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to move from 26 to 62. I don't want to move from 26 to 52 necessarily. So I am going to counter the Detroit Lions offer here. And I am going to, let's see here, 2026. Let's do this here. Let's go back. Let's trade with a team that's got an early pick in the second round. Let's do that. Let's go to Tennessee. Let's go from 26 to 35. And let's see if we can get the 101 and the 184. Trade was accepted. So we moved down a little bit. We're going to reject the other trade proposals, even if they're good. We're going to go up. And this is if the Buffalo Bills were to trade down. With that pick that we traded away, the Tennessee Titans selected Zion Young. Okay, so shortly thereafter that, Omar Cooper, Casey Concepcion were picked right before that. Kenyon Sadiq went 28th to the Houston Texans. I highly, highly doubt that Kenyon Sadiq will go that late in the first round. Denzel Boston goes to the New England Patriots. Jacob Rodriguez and Blake Miller follow suit. So let's just say here that we look at things from the standpoint of what the Buffalo Bills need with the players that are listed here as some of the top players in this draft at their respective positions, right? Those players being C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. Clicking on C.J. Allen, 4-star guy nationally, consummate old school linebacker as written here with new school athletic gifts, excelled in 2025 at 6'1", 235 pounds, close to average size overall, shorter reach than preferred, with lean mass, incredibly rangy, and just overall solid in terms of metrics and things like that. I think a lot of people have given the Patrick Queen comparison, where he was drafted late in the first round. Balin Spector, late round draft pick of the Buffalo Bills. I don't know why he's really compared to Balin Spector, maybe just based on size, but I like Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. Buffalo's invested quite a bit, though, in the secondary here over the course of free agency. But I like the idea of them going safety to pair with Cole Bishop. But I'm really torn here between CJ Allen and Emmanuel McNeill-Warren out of Toledo. Chris Bell out of Louisville as well. That's when we start to go into the weeds here. Let's just for the sake of not making a reach here, let's for the sake of it go with CJ Allen, the linebacker. We'll then go to the next pick here. I don't know why it didn't accept my trade. The trade that I just made, it didn't go through. That was weird. I guess we're not doing trades. So we'll go Mike Washington. And now we're going to go 101. Back. We're going to go Malik Muhammad, Texas corner. We'll now look at wide receivers. We'll go Elijah Sarrett. Thought this trade worked. I don't know why it didn't seem to go through. I thought I had the 50th pick, but it didn't do it. So I might have to restart this. Let's restart it for the sake of just my sanity. Case in point, what I want to do is I want to trade down. That's what I want to do. Okay, Jeremiah Love goes 7 here to the Washington Commanders. We don't necessarily want to trade up. Nobody really looking at Makai Lemon. Lemon is being passed over. Omar Cooper, Caden McDonald, KC Concepcion. We're going to hit reject on this. Hit reject on that. Now we're at a point where we wouldn't want to trade down, right? We got a guy here that we really like here that Bills fans are really starting to hear a lot more about, KC Concepcion, the junior out of Texas A&M, who I think has a lot of really good natural characteristics of a solid route runner, change of direction, spatial feet, as that said. I'm going KC Concepcion. He's going to push the likes of Keon Coleman, DJ Moore joining him. CJ Allen goes to the Jets. And we got a long wait here. I'd love to be able to speed this up a little bit. Let's see if it lets me. It does not. But we'll let the picks kind of come from there. Let's just be patient. Love to try to trade up if we could, but I don't see an angle to do that. So far we just got KC Concepcion, and I feel pretty good about that if I'm coming from the standpoint of getting a difference maker that can come in day one and compete for a starting spot on this roster. I think KC Concepcion can do that. I think this wide receiver class is actually much better than what it is given credit for, and that comes from just watching the tape, checking the tape as much as I have. I see players that really make a lot of sense for the Bills, even late in this draft. Malik Muhammad, who I took originally. Malik Muhammad is a 6-foot guy. Reminds me a little bit of Tre'Davious White in terms of some of the, intangibles. A lot longer than Tre'Davious White, but definitely looked at as a third-round guy. And I don't quite know, with his pro comp, Kyle Fuller jumps out to me as a top 15 pick on his best day I think Malik Muhammad is that type of first-round type talent, but we are in the third round. So I'm going to go with Malik Muhammad here. I think that they need some secondary depth despite having it already. I don't think you could ever have enough. I think that was proven in previous years. As we inch closer now to pick 126, we've drafted a wide receiver. We've drafted a corner. We have not drafted an edge rusher. We have not drafted a safety. We have not drafted a linebacker. We have not drafted an offensive guard. So really only one of our quote-unquote team needs has been fulfilled despite, what we've had in mind for this draft. We go to defense here. I think there's edge rushers that are kind of limited. Linebackers are limited. Safeties are limited. I do think in a 3-4, you got to find a big, juicy defensive tackle that they drafted last draft, which I think was great in Dwayne Carter, as well as the big guy. I'm drawing a blank on it, but guy from Kentucky. Let's see Darrell Jackson Jr. sitting right here, 6'5", 337 pounds, true mid-round nose tackle prospect that is a little older, 23 years old as a rookie, but I really love a guy that could plug the middle of the line. So I'm going with Darrell Jackson. You look at where he's rated as the 93rd best player. Buffalo would pick him at 126. I think that that's a really interesting pick for the Bills, and I think it's one that they'd feel pretty confident in as far as a camp body. They can come in, compete, and show he'd be a part of the Buffalo Bills defense led by Jim Leonhard, former Buffalo Bills. So now we got a little bit of a long wait again as we wait to 165. I'll be honest with you guys. This is a very interesting draft. We go and look at, some of the players. Once this draft is fully picked out, some of the players that are really interesting to me and the guys that stand out and where they could fit. 165, got a trade-off for you coming in here from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to hit reject on that. Looking at edge rusher, looking at wide out, looking at running back. Edge rusher is what is listed as a need. Max Lelewinen, I think, is somebody that you look at the school. Iowa has produced some really good defensive ends over the years and some good tight ends as well, oddly enough. This is an interesting one. 6'5", 263, with testing and comps that I think are really interesting. 4.81 40-yard dash, which is a little slow for my liking, but when you look at who he looks like historically, Jared Allen is the name that jumps out at me. Jared Allen ran a much faster 40 time than Jack Paquette, Kerry Wynn, Eric Flowers, former Buffalo Bill, and Brenton Cox. But I think when I look at this, in terms of a RAS score and all that fancy schmancy stuff, 8.2 out of 10, not bad. Okay, not bad at all. I think that he's got a lot of potential as a late round draft choice in terms of productivity. I like the fit with the Bills, and he fits the ranking as well. 166, 165. Then you got another pick here coming up. So we got a look at our picks here so far. Casey Concepcion, Malik Muhammad, Darrell Jackson Jr., a big, juicy nose tackle, and Max Llewellyn. And now we can go look at safety finally and see what's out there. Deshaun Singleton out of Nebraska. We know that there's some names out here that look pretty damn good. I'm going to look at linebacker Keyshawn Elliott out of Arizona State. Put together a really good collegiate career, and I look at him as a decent linebacker in coverage. Looking for a decent coverage linebacker, testing and traits and things like that. Looking at a blue chip type physicality guy that really tests well in terms of football IQ. So knowing the defense, running a defense. You got Red Murdoch here coming down the pike here from the UB Bulls. I'm going to go Keyshawn Elliott. at 168. And now we wait till we pick at 182. And the next pick from there on would be 220. So let's do this here. Jack Kelly. All right. Drew Aller. This is where things can get interesting. I am not happy, personally. I'm not happy about the Buffalo Bills quarterback situation beyond, of course, Josh Allen. I think Kyle Allen is a really weak backup for quarterback, and I don't like the fact that they picked him. Now, is it wrong for me to say that it would be a waste of a pick to take a quarterback in this draft? I don't think it would be wrong, but I also, on the flip side, don't think it would be right in the sense of overlooking that option entirely. I think the Bills need a better, younger QB2 or QB3 to work up to a QB2 that would be on a very cheap rookie contract. The last time they had this line of thinking, they took Jake Fromm. They lost him off the practice squad to the New York Giants. So I'm going Drew Aller here at 182 in the 6th round out of Penn State. I like that pick a lot. I think there's value there. Whether he just sits on the bench and backs up the MVP or not doesn't matter to me. Okay. As this loads, we'll keep waiting. So far, though, I like what we've done so far. And this might be a little bit of a homer pick here, but you missed the boat last year with a UB linebacker. I'm going Red Murdoch to close it out. Red Murdoch out of UB. I like this class a lot. I like this class a ton. Casey Concepcion, Malik Muhammad, Daryl Jackson Jr., Max Llewellyn, Keyshawn Elliott, Drew Aller, and Red Murdoch. You hit every single need. Casey Concepcion, Malik Muhammad, corner, adding just to the secondary in general, I think is a plus, especially in a 3-4 defense. Daryl Jackson Jr., the nose tackle, Max Llewellyn, an edge rusher to add in with guys like Landon Jackson. Drew Aller will help that quarterback room that doesn't really need much help, but I think from a backup perspective, God forbid if Josh Allen were to go down, Kyle Allen would come in. He's got some starting experience, but I think long-term backup plans for Josh Allen, I think Drew Aller should be looked at. And Red Murdoch, a UB kid, getting a chance to do some fun stuff. So that's what I got for the Buffalo Bills. Now we'll go to just the thought process of some of these players that I want to talk about that are some of the bigger players in this draft. I want to talk specifically about Fernando Mendoza, who is largely believed to be the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming draft. There was some interesting stuff that happened over the course of the last week or two since I had been on. I think over the course of the last week, in which Kirk Cousins was signed by the Las Vegas Raiders as their next big free agent signing. And Kirk Cousins is an interesting case because Kirk Cousins has been a franchise guy in this league for multiple teams and was thought to be a franchise guy for that of the Atlanta Falcons. And the year that the Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, they go out and they draft a highly injury-prone rookie in Michael Penix Jr. And now they've signed Tua to compete with Michael Penix Jr. and they let Kirk Cousins go into free agency. Now, I think it's really interesting the debate that teams have whether or not you bring in a veteran or wait for your rookie quarterback to be ready and wait for your rookie quarterback to be ready so that your veteran can play, or do you play your rookie right away? We've got cases on both sides of the argument as to whether or not you should let your quarterback play or as to whether or not you should let your quarterback sit and learn. We've seen it work both ways well. Guys that come in right away, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, were able to come right in, do their thing right away. Then you got the other examples, the Pat Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen came in right away, right? He didn't get listed as a starter week 1, but it only took 1 week and he was the starter, right? Once we saw, what happened in Baltimore with Nathan Peterman, he got benched in that game and turned into the Josh Allen era right there from then on. So I think this is really good for the kid, and I like the kid a lot. I think he's got a great attitude, great mindset, and a great head on his shoulders for what he is about to embark on. He had a hell of a run as a collegiate quarterback, winning the Heisman Trophy, getting to a point where he could be the skill and the will of that Indiana Hoosiers team and lead one of the greatest collegiate program turnarounds probably of all time. It ranks up there for certain. Indiana had never done a lick of anything. And I look at it and say to myself, you know what? This is a kid that has battled through some adversity, battled through the naysayers, gets an opportunity, and he made the most of it, right? He most definitely made the most of it. So he deserves the opportunity to be talked about as the best prospect in this draft, as well as the first overall pick in this draft. For any of you dynasty players out there that are looking for a cornerstone type player, that's what I'm talking about right now when I talk about a guy like Fernando Mendoza. Now, Ty Simpson, on the other hand, I like as well. And I feel like he's going to go to the Jets. I don't know for certain, but I feel like if the Jets were smart, which they are never smart, which is why they've been so bad for so long, Ty Simpson probably will not go to the Jets. He'll probably go to somebody else that is much more smarter than the New York Jets, I should say. So I do like Ty Simpson as well. I don't look at them that far off. I think Fernando Mendoza is going to go first, largely due to what he did as a collegiate player. Ty Simpson will have a good career as well. I think they both have talent and they both have skill. But without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the best prospect in this draft is Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, did things for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish that have not been done in quite some time, leading the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to a national championship game, putting the offense on his shoulders every single time he was asked to. And running back is a very interesting thing. I love running backs. I love teams that can run the football efficiently. I love evaluating quarterbacks and running backs just as much as one another. Love evaluating all the players, but quarterbacks and running backs I really love to evaluate, as well as wide receivers and tight ends. I'm more of an offensive-minded guy as in general. But when I look at Jeremiah Love, I say to myself, man, this could be one of those types of running backs. It's like an Ezekiel Elliott. It's like a Todd Gurley. That's like a Saquon Barkley, to be quite honest, where he's a blue chip player. He's a player that's going to be picked, come in right away, do what's asked of him, and contribute to the team that he's drafted by, making that team remarkably better than what he had even anticipated. And one of those teams is going to pick him in the top 10. I know he's a top 10 pick. I think just based on this draft, I think he's a top 5 pick. If a team really wants to bring somebody in that can make that dividend type contribution, and I think Jeremiah Love is that guy. So 3 offensive players for you. I'll get in the defense next week, but Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, as I said 2 actually, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Jeremiah Love. We'll talk about defensive players next week, but a little bit of a Buffalo Bills mock draft for you and a little bit of some players to watch in this upcoming NFL draft. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Again, folks, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. Take care and go Bills.